Alright guys, so let's continue on with a little bit more advanced modeling concept. So obviously you guys can kind of create this using chunky blocks and, well, maybe not. But let's now get into kind of the loft and the revolving and the surface editing tools. So in order to make this shape here, I'm in my top view, and yeah, we'll just make it and then we'll flip it to its proper side. So now I'm going to start to be a little bit more disciplined and start to create some reference lines for myself. So let's say if this stool is about 18 inches tall, I'm going to make a line that's 18. So that line is now 18. Hold down Shift and then just click to establish that. And then let's go another line. And maybe it's about this wide. So it's about 7.24 inches. I'm going to say 8. So that'll allow me to kind of create this curve here. Let me actually copy that. And so what I'm doing is I'm actually setting up my guidelines or my reference lines. And let's just create a curve that's kind of similar to this kind of curve. And being a designer, you guys can make your own call there. So I'm going to come first straight down and then come in here, click. And you don't want crazy amount of shapes or points. You just want just enough for you to get what you need. And I'm going to come here, align with my line here, and then finish off there. So I have my curve, which then now I can kind of edit and adjust as I need to get the true shape that I want. I don't really need that. I think what I want to do is, okay, let's start off with that first. And then let me go here. Let me rotate this now properly. So I'm going to use this red axis here and type 90. And then I'm going to move this thing from here to 0. Had I drawn it in front view, it would have been all done. Okay, so now I'm going to use my series of curves here to create my 3D revolve. So the tool here will be revolve. Select curves to revolve. It'll be this guy. And then my revolve axes will be this line. And end is going to just, I'm going to push enter. And then start angle 0, and then revolution angle 360, just so enter. So now I have this kind of stool. So this is what we call a surface in Rhino. And surface is kind of like a sheet of paper, if you will. But on top of that, a sheet of paper without any thickness. So it's just a surface. So what we want to do is, you can edit surfaces, but it's a lot easier to edit solids. So we want to create this into a solid. In order to do that and to make this into a solid chunk, if you will, of mass, you want to cap it. So the command is called cap. And I create the surface. And what it does is looking for holes. So obviously there's a hole here and a hole here, and it'll cap it. So there you go. So now I have a solid chunk. So if I cut this in half, it'll be a solid mass. So that's kind of what I want, because it seems like there's a little, like a lip here, like a little radius. So I'm going to come in here and take on the circle here and then kind of stretch it out. So that gives me a little bit of thickness. And if you notice here, there's like a little radius curve to it. More specifically on this edge. So I am going to do this command here, which is fillet, and I'm going to fillet that surface, and let's give it a radius of, I don't know, 0.25. I have no idea how big I made this, so nope. Let me undo. Oop, redo. So I want to go fillet, edge, and select this edge here, enter. And it gives me kind of a preview of what a 1-inch radius would be, which is obviously too large. That, and I can drag it out, but also show radius, set all. Oh, I think I have to go to set all. So anyway, 0.25. You could do that, or you can drag this white dot, either way, but I kind of want it to be more accurate. So you want to hit set all and then input the value. If you like that, you just push enter and then you get a radius. Alright, so let's go ahead and make this little center ring. So you can do a couple of things. I can do a Boolean operation, is probably the best way to do it. Or actually I'm gonna split the surface. So let's go to the top view here, and I'm gonna just draw a curve first from 0, and let's say that outer ring is something like there, and I'm gonna select that front view and raise it up so you guys can see. So you can see I drew a curve that's on top of this surface. So I am going to this command here, trim. Where is it? Here. But what we want to do is we want to hit split. So if you look at the little icon, left click is a split, and then right click is split by isocurve, which we'll cover later. So you're going to just click on this guy here, split, select the object. I want to select this guy, and then enter, and then my cutting object will be that guy, enter. So what it did was it actually took this circle and basically went straight down. It's cut there and also cut here. It just kind of goes straight down and it splits anything. So if I go to my Control Shift, you can see that's been split into different pieces. But more importantly, I wanted that guy to be split. So that face is now cut, which means that, can I just lift this up? Yep. And now since it's cut, it's basically a hollow surface again, which is fine because I definitely want to now, what to do. Actually, I'm going to make that a solid by pushing this up. So now I have a kind of a solid disc, you know, that little lip. And I need to now split again this surface up. In this case, actually, I think I'm going to do multiple different techniques here. I'm going to choose that curve. I'm going to reduce it like that. And in this case, I am going to make a solid out of that curve because this is a solid, and so I want to cheat and use a Boolean technique. Here, let's do this. Let's go here, say hide. We want to hide all this so that we're just looking at just these items here. So I'm going to go to extrude curve, and I'm just making a solid. And so that'll be the depth of the dish, I guess. Let me see, how do I want to do that? Wow, I'm actually making this a lot more complicated than it needs to be, but I think it's a good example of how various different modeling techniques that you have at your disposal in Rhino. So let's go, let's do a Boolean. I'm gonna join them first. Join this guy and that guy. So it becomes one chunky model. And then I'm going to take this object and explode it. And what exploding does is that it actually explodes it into all individual faces. So they all become individuals again, right? And I'm way convoluting this demo, but I think you'll get introduced to many different editing techniques here, which is good. So now I can get rid of all of that. Actually, I'm going to get rid of that inner ring because there's a little hole there. Nope, I don't want to get rid of that inner ring. Okay, so that's good. Actually, I think I'm going to take this edge, just that surface edge, and I'm going to move it. Again, guys, I made this a lot more difficult than it really needed to be. Enter, and then I'm going to do that. Oops, how come it didn't move? Should have moved. That guy. Here, I'm just going to stretch it out first. And move that. Okay, so now they're all touching each other, which is a good thing, because then if they are, then I can combine them and join them. So now that is a solid. Okay, so get rid of these guys, and I can unhide. Now I can unhide my items by just typing show. It all comes back. And so here's my little disk. And somehow it didn't join to that. So this is going to be a little dirty model, but I'm going to cheat here and I'm just going to group it because it didn't. When it doesn't join, it means that the surfaces aren't touching each other perfectly. So in this case, I want to cheat a little bit so I can just kind of join them. So now you have the little curvy stool. You know, I took you guys in a very long-winded way to create that. Of course, there's a lot of different ways of doing it, and you're going to use different techniques. Another way would have been to literally create the disc for the bottom, and then you could create, I think you can create a donut here. Yep, you can create a donut, and you could use the same. And then 2 inches. So of course you can do that, right? And then, you know, you're going to boolean these two together to create one shape. And that's too thick, so you want to bring that down. So again, there's many different ways of doing these models. I'm just kind of showing you to you using various different tools. So whatever I'm showing you is not necessarily the most efficient way to do it. And you guys will discover your own kind of technique on modeling something when you see an object. So anyway, so you could have done that, but this one, it was a little bit convoluted and kind of went through creating surfaces and stuff, but hopefully you guys got the point. Let's do this guy here. And again, this guy, you know, it's very similar to the square pendant, but in this case, it's this kind of this oval shape. And let's use a slightly different tool for that. So I'm going to go to a tool to make this ellipsis. Oh no, actually I'm going to go back to rectangle with corners and kind of create something like that. And I'm going to extrude. I'll try to make this quick. And here it's going to create a solid, because it's a solid yes. I'm going to click on that to say no, because I actually just want a surface. So then I have a hole through that. I can click this edge. I wonder if I can chain it, but anyway, I'm going to go through and select all these edges. So now I have them selected. I'm going to scale that in XY. I'm holding down Shift to scale proportionally. It's probably just a slight taper like that. So there you go. So that's another way to create that shape. Now remember, this is a surface, so it doesn't have any thickness to it. Let me see. So in this case, if this was a solid, remember the shell command where you type in shell and then you click the top and the bottom to shell to make a hole. You've learned that technique in an earlier demo. In this case, let's say we have a surface. In this case, to add thickness to the surface, you're going to type extrude. Oops. Let me get out of this command here. Escape. Extrude. Instead of curve, you're going to say extrude surface. So we're going to select all of these surfaces, and it's going to extrude them outwards or inwards. Let me see. Which way is it going? Ooh. That's not what we want. We want to go direction. Nope. Okay, that's a bad demo. Give me a second, guys. Okay, guys, you know what? Offsetting a surface was not a good tool in this case because this object is made up of many surfaces and it didn't know quite which way to expand itself. So another way to do that would be to offset the surfaces and do like really heavy surface modeling, which we're going to get into later. In the meantime, the new version, actually the new Rhino version is 7, but we're on 6. In version 6 right here, there's a faking process called apply thickness. So this will be a great way to kind of introduce you to kind of the tools that are being developed by Rhino. So this is actually just a fake. It doesn't actually make the surface physically thicker, but it kind of fakes it. All right, so you click that and then you get into that and then you select your object and you enter, and then here on the properties tab it tells you how much you want it to thicken, and do you want it to look like a solid, or do you want it to go both sides, meaning this will be the center and it'll go 0.24 to the inside and 0.24 to the outside. We're going to just say solid and we're going to say turn it on. So now you can see that it looks like a solid, right? But it's kind of a fake because it's still just a single flat, zero thickness surface. But on the render, it looks like a thickened shell, if you will. So anyhow, hopefully that was, this demo was a little bit convoluted, but we did cover a lot of more advanced surfacing techniques. So hopefully you can use one of these many techniques that you're going to learn to creating your new models. We'll see you in the next video.